Okay, I think we can begin. I was thinking, let's.
No sound.
No sound? Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, this is going to be a webinar on astronomy, the basics of stargazing. You know, if you step out and you want to do some stargazing, how do you go about it? But I would like to first hear from you what your experience has been, you know, in looking at the night sky. So let's start with, we are a small group, so let's start with your name, which city you are currently in, and a few words on your experience with stargazing. You know, if you've tried it, if you succeeded, whatever, you know. I can go first and then I'll call out names. I'm Vikram. I'm currently in a place called Auroville. It's near Pondicherry in South India. My experience with stargazing, it was very difficult for me till I started learning astrology. And it's amazing how much I learned about astronomy through astrology. So I'm learning all these tools and techniques and how to interpret the birth chart. But then I start asking myself, what does this actually mean when I look at the sky? You know, when we say sun is in Pisces, what does that mean? Because I know sun is in the sky, Pisces is in the sky. Can I see it? You know, so try to understand astrology through astronomy. And I realized that astronomy is the start, the basic, the foundations for me to interpret a birth chart. And both of that went parallel, learning astronomy and learning astrology. You all know the difference, right? Do you know the difference between astronomy and astrology? No, okay. Okay, I'll explain a little later, but just let's do a check-in round, right? So, and now I'm hooked to stargazing. You know, I find it so, it's almost a meditation for me to sit under the night sky. You know? And that's what I want to share with you all today in this webinar. Yeah. But let's do a small check-in round. Let's go alphabetically. So Ekotsa, Archit, and then Mamta.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ekotsa. I'm also staying in Ottawa. For me, stargazing, first of all, where I came from, my hometown is Visakhapatnam. Uh, there were not that many stars to see at all. Yeah, that was the problem. But here it's much more visible. So I did try stargazing. I used an app to see what star is what, and yeah, I could find some of the stars. Yes, yeah, that's the experience.
Thank you, Ekotsa. Archit and Mamta. You're on mute, Archit.
Continue?
Yes, can hear you now.
Yes, sir. Myself, sir, Archit Talwar. I am living in Jammu city, Jammu and Kashmir, India, sir. So stargazing is a little bit complicated process. Since time immemorial, I was trying to look this thing. So last to last Thursday, sir, I saw the moon. Near the moon, I saw a star. I was reading the Facebook post. In that post, it was written that I think that moon and Jupiter were in the same sign. That's why I could see that.
Mm. Thank you.
And I could find the pole star also in the early morning. I could only find only one star only. And little bit I tried to find Saptarishi also, but was unable to find it, sir.
Thank you. I'll give you a few tips to find Saptarishi. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Mamta, Manjula, and then Maria.
Hi, my name is Mamta. I'm also in Oroville, which is near Pondicherry. Um, I my experience with stargazing, I know very, very little, very basic, and sometimes just use the app to find out. But I've always been curious about what's going on out there in the sky and how it affects us, and uh, I mean, what kind
Mamta, I think.
years or something. And I remember I saw my first shooting star. It was yeah, that was my most fascinating moment. And then from there was like curiosity increasing about it.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you.
Looking forward to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Manjula, Maria, and Ragvi.
Sir, I am Manshila. I am from Baroda, Gujarat. In my city, it is very difficult to see the stars in the sky because of pollution. But I can recognize Jupiter, Uranus, and Saturn.
Hmm.
Every day in the evening when I walking, I see all the stars
Mhm.
because my phone has an app to see. I have done my phone like this and see all the stars.
Very
That's it.
nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Maria, Ragvi, and Saud.
Hi everyone. I am calling from Vietnam, and I have absolutely no experience stargazing. I can pretty much recognize the sun and the moon and maybe the Venus, but I'm willing to learn more.
Excellent. Thank you. Ragvi, Saud, and Varsha.
Hi, my name is Raghavi. I'm from Delhi, and it's impossible to breathe properly over here. Forget about seeing stars. But and also I don't have any experience in stargazing. I do wish to trek along the Spiti Valley someday to see all the stars that are there, and yeah, learn more about it.
Thank you, Ragvi. Saud, Varsha, and Jay. Okay, sure, Saud. Varsha and Jay.
Hello, my name is Varsha and I'm from Bangalore. So I have like basic experience with stargazing. I use like the app to see like many like constellations and stuff. I can identify most commonly like stars and the constellations which appear in the sky. And yeah, I relate with like astrology also, like if moon is in like Pisces, which sign it is, and I try to like see okay like how it, but I'm not like completely sure like how it works, but I'm interested to know in this class.
Great. Welcome. And we have Jay. Jay, we are just doing a check-in. Your name, your location, and any experience with stargazing.
Yeah, this is Jay from Pondicherry, and this is regarding stargazing. My son is more interested, so I've registered for the event for my son. He's very much interested in stargazing. He's also joining.
Excellent. How old is your son?
12 years.
12. Perfect. He will follow this webinar.
Yeah.
Okay. And hello, Monica. Welcome. We are just doing a small check-in round. Your name, where you're located currently, which city, and any experience in stargazing. You're on mute. there's an icon at the top saying mic. You can click on that. Yeah, okay, just see if you can find that icon. It's on the, yeah, there you go. Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah. You're on mute now. No, it came and went. Anyway. Yes, you have to click it once. We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Yes. So sorry for my delay, and I'm happy to be here again. Well, it's a pleasure to be with you here. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Let's get started. So I was sharing earlier that for me, my journey in astronomy has been through astrology, right? And one of y'all shared that you don't know the difference. So astronomy is the study of the universe, right? All the objects in the universe, the stars, the planets, the galaxies, the comets, everything. It's the study of the physical universe. That's astronomy. Astrology is making sense of that in the context of our lives, right? So that interpretation of astronomical events in the day-to-day life of people, of animals, of nations, that is astrology, right? So astrology starts where astronomy finishes. And without astronomy, we can't do astrology. We need to know about the planets and stars and how they move and where they are in order to do astrology, right? Different topic. Today we'll stick to astronomy, right? I have a small presentation and I wanted this to be more of a hands-on working session, hands-on session. So I will take you through some software and I will show you how to plan a stargazing night, right? There are some things that I found people to get confused with, which makes the stargazing experience very difficult. So I want to go through the basics so that when you step out next time, you know exactly what to do, right? So it's about planning a stargazing night. Yeah. I'm going to share my screen and just tell me if you can see it. Yeah. Yeah, okay, great. So first, let's look at the magnitude of this universe. Yeah, I was telling you earlier that for me, sitting under the sky is almost a meditation. So let's get a sense of this. Let's say the moon is a marble. Yeah, you know a marble, a small, tiny marble. If the moon was a marble, the sun will be a tennis ball. Sorry, the earth will be a tennis ball 2 meters away. Yeah? That's the proportion over here. If the moon was a marble, the earth would be a tennis ball 2 meters away. The sun will be 7 meters tall 200 meters away, 700 meters away. Yeah? Look at the sense of scale over here. The moon is a marble, the sun is 7 meters tall, almost 700, almost a kilometer away, and there's just empty space in between. Yeah? The sun is a star. right? The closest star is called Alpha Centauri, right? There are many stars, and the closest star to us is Alpha Centauri. It's almost the same size as the Sun. And guess how far that would be in this scale? It would be 200,000 kilometers away. And it's just empty space in between. And these are just two stars. One is the Sun, the other is Alpha Centauri. Both of these stars are part of the same galaxy. You know, a collection of stars is called a galaxy. And our galaxy is called the Milky Way. Yeah? On a clear night, right, we will see around 4,000 stars. That is, if there's no pollution, there is no humidity, and you are able to see completely with the naked eye without binoculars, we can see around 4,000 stars. The Milky Way, our galaxy, has 400 billion stars. Look at the size of this universe, right? And the Sun is just one star. Like that, there are 400 billion stars in our Milky Way. What does 400 billion mean? If we were to count one star a second, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, at that pace, it will take us 13,000 years to count 400 billion. That is what 400 billion means. And it's just one galaxy. But this is nothing, you know. If we say the Milky Way, if we reduce the size of the Milky Way to a grain of sand, one tiny grain of sand is the Milky Way, then our universe, the universe that we know, will be 4 football fields large. And that is just the known universe. So, how tiny are we? How insignificant are we, you know, in this creation, right? And this 4 football fields, it has over 100 billion galaxies. We're talking of tiny grains of sand. And when we look at the Vedas, you know, our scriptures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says there are parallel universes. Our universe is only one amongst several other universes, all existing in parallel. Right? So when we step out and look at the night sky, you'll get a sense of, you know, what we are looking into. But there are different objects that we can see, right, when we go into the night sky, when we step outside. So let's take a look at that. We have something called graha in astrology. It's a very broad term saying a body. Yeah? Which are the bodies that we can see? When we say stargazing, what do we mean, right? You need to differentiate between planets and stars. We say stargazing, but it's not really stargazing, because even with the most powerful telescope, a star will stay a star. It will just be a tiny peck of light. It will not change its size. because it is so far away, even the most powerful telescope. So when we step outside and we look at the night sky and we look at stars, you're not going to make out any difference from one star to another, whatever telescope, binoculars you take. So that is not what we want to see when we go stargazing. We want to see grahas, planets. Which are they? Okay, I'm using the word graha and I include the sun. Even though the sun is a star, I'm including it as a graha, as a body. Okay, the sun. Now, all the photographs you see in this deck is what I've taken. I've not used any images from the net, right? And I find this image of the sun, for me, it really connects me with the energy of the sun, right? Fire and all of that. So the sun, and the sun is, we always see, right? So the next time you look at the sun, you're basically stargazing, right? Because the sun is a star. Everyone does stargazing because we always see the sun. The moon, right? The moon is the same size as the sun in the sky. It's the tiniest object, right, amongst all the grahas that I will show you, but it appears to be the same size as the sun, identical size. That is why we have eclipses, because the sun and the moon appear to be the same size and one covers the other, right? I'm sure all of us have seen the moon, and when you see the moon, it also comes under the broad term of stargazing, even though the moon is not a star. Yeah, I'll give you some tips on how to see the moon. Yeah? Next is Mercury, one of the most difficult objects to see. Why? Any ideas? Would anyone like to guess why Mercury is the most difficult object to see?
Because it's a red planet.
Because it's a red planet. No. Mercury is not.
Because it is nearest to sun?
Yes. Mercury is closest to the sun. So if you want to see Mercury, you'll end up looking at the sun, and that's extremely dangerous. Right? Not only dangerous, but the sun's light is so bright, you can't see anything nearby. You can't see any stars, you can't see any planets, you can't see Mercury. So timing yourself to see Mercury, you need to be you need to plan. And I would like to show you how to do that. Yeah. Mercury. Next comes Venus. All of us would have seen Venus, right? Many times it will appear as a bright object near the moon after sunset, right? And people ask, which is that star? Which is that star? No, it is not a star. Look carefully, look closely. It is a planet. But how can you say? How can you say whether something is a planet or something is a star? Any guesses?
Like stars, they flicker, like
Yes.
you see them, they on flickering, and planets they're like still.
Exactly. So stars will twinkle, planets will not.
Yeah.
Right? What does twinkling mean? Means it comes and goes. There's a kind of it blacks out.
Yeah.
There's a flickering. Flickering is a nice word. Twinkling is another word, right? So when you're looking at the stars, at the sky, you need to give yourself a few minutes for your eyes to accustom to that darkness, to that blackness. We are so used to looking at bright computer screens that when we step outside and look at the sky, give it a little time. And after a few minutes, notice that some objects will be flickering. Actually, most objects will be flickering, will be twinkling. And if it twinkles, then it's a star. If it's not twinkling, it's not a star. Let's call it that. It's not a star. It could be a satellite. It could be a planet, right? It could be the light of a plane, right? It could be other things, but it's not a star. When you find a bright dot like this, like what you see in my image over here, near the moon or somewhere on the east-west axis, if it is twinkling and it's bright, it is Sirius, a star. If it is not twinkling, it is Venus. Yeah? Just a way to differentiate. But sometimes even Jupiter will appear bright near the east-west axis, on the east-west axis, right? So this becomes your starting point. You should know how to find east. All the planets will be on the east-west axis. If you look at the north, you will not find a planet. Everything rises in the east and sets in the west. Right? So when you see a bright object, first take out your phone and look where the north is. Where is east? Where is west? If it's somewhere in the east or the west, or directly above, then you know it's a planet. Yeah? Now, this over here, this image, is the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus, and taken from a phone. The bright object here is Jupiter, and the bright object is Venus, and the slightly fainter object is Jupiter. We can also see Mars, right, with the naked eye, and Mars will appear a little red, and it will not twinkle because Mars is a planet. Yeah, we can see Jupiter, yeah, as I showed you in the previous one, and we can see Saturn. Now this photograph, I have 3 objects in this photograph taken with an iPhone, no fancy equipment. The bottom is Jupiter, the center is Saturn, and the top is the moon. So this was the conjunction. Conjunction means coming together, right, of Jupiter and Saturn. And we can see these with the naked eye. You don't need binoculars, you don't need telescopes, you should just know where to look. Yeah? And that's what I want to show you, how to plan where to look. Yeah? Now, these are grahas that we can see with the naked eye. There are other grahas that we use in astrology that we cannot see, right? Rahu and Ketu, right? They are grahas, but they are not objects. They are mathematical points, right? They are treated as a graha. Yeah? So we cannot see because there's no physical reality to them. We cannot see Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto with the naked eye. If you use an app and you point it at the sky, it will tell you where Uranus is, but you cannot see it with the naked eye. You need binoculars, very powerful binoculars. Even an ordinary telescope, you cannot spot Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. You need a very powerful telescope. Yeah? So don't even try to do this as beginners, as amateurs, to try to spot Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. It is not possible. As beginners, what we can do is to work with Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Saturn, you can see the rings of Saturn through a telescope. You can see the moons of Saturn with a telescope. You can see the moons of Jupiter with a telescope. I have spotted 5 moons of Jupiter. You'll see Jupiter and you'll see dots around Jupiter. Jupiter, you can see the great red spot of Jupiter with a telescope. So these will be very interesting to work with. Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Mercury, as beginners, I would not advise, right? It's very dangerous because it's too close to the sun. There are also something called exoplanets, which are planets around other stars, right? And we cannot see. What I've listed in red over here, forget it. You can't see it. Yeah. These are the grahas. Now we come to the stars. Remember, grahas don't twinkle. The moon does not twinkle. The sun does not twinkle. But when I say stars, they are twinkling, right? So you can see individual stars. You can see groups of stars, a constellation, a zodiacal sign. I will show you. Yeah. Galaxies, you can see as faint objects. Then there are something called neutron stars, white dwarfs. You need very clear conditions to see this. It's possible, but I would not advise. And then there are other things like nebulae, meteor shower, comets, asteroids, satellites. Possible to see, but you have to first get used to the software, and then you can use the software to help you locate these objects. Right? Black holes and dark matter, it's not possible to see. Black holes don't emit light, so you can't see it. Dark matter, by definition, is dark. You can't see it. Yeah? Any questions so far before we get hands-on? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, yes.
I was, why can't we see Rahu, Ketu?
Because they don't exist. There is no physical body called Rahu or Ketu. It's a mathematical point. Rahu and Ketu are the nodes of the moon, where the moon's orbit around the earth intersects the earth orbit around the sun. The point of intersection is Rahu and Ketu.
Okay, you cannot see Uranus and Neptune, Pluto as well.
As well, no, you cannot. You cannot see it with the naked eye. Yeah, even with a powerful telescope, it's not possible. These are detected because of gravitational anomalies in the orbits of other planets. So it's not something that you can look through in a binoculars and say that is Uranus there. It's not possible. Yeah.
That's interesting because the macro and the subatomic world are so similar because there are some subatomic particles they are just detected because of the anomalies they create on other particles.
Very interesting. Yes, that's true.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, before we go hands-on, there is something, one thing that we need to be comfortable with, right? Which are degrees, minutes, and seconds. What do I mean by this, right? The sky is a circle, right? We look at the east, we can look above, we look down, and then the sky extends even below the earth. It's a circle, right? Circle is demarcated using something called degrees, right? A circle has 360 degrees. Why 360? It's another topic, right? But let's just stay with that. It has 360 degrees. Each degree has 60 minutes, right? It's the same word as time, but over here it is distance on a circle, right? It's called minutes, and each minute has 60 seconds, right? They should have used some other word, but they have not. So degrees, minutes, and seconds is very different from hours, minutes, and seconds. Hours, minutes, and seconds is a measure of time. Degrees, minutes, and seconds is a measure along the arc, right? You just have to get comfortable with the terminology. There's also many sutras in the Vedas which tell us why it is 360, why 60, and all of that, but we won't get into that, right? Now, I want us to do a small exercise, yeah, to get comfortable with this degrees, minutes, and seconds. What I want you to do is to choose an object in your room, okay? Any object. It can be a lamp, a fan, it can be a sofa, a chair. Choose one object, okay? Next, I want you to take out your phone and search for the compass. In your smartphone, right? Open your smartphone and open the compass. Do you all know how to search for the compass? So,
Yes.
yeah, this is the
Yes.
compass, right? For me, it comes up
Yes.
like this. Yeah. Now, place the phone horizontal and find which is the north. So the north will be indicated by a red arrow. But you need to keep the phone horizontal. Were everybody able to find north using a compass?
Actually, I'm doing this class in this phone, and there is compass. Yes.
Yeah. So, Manjula, find the compass, right? And then keep the phone horizontal.
It is in my phone, sir.
Yeah, keep it horizontal and find which is north. So for me, that is north over there.
Yes, that is not.
That is north. Okay, good. Now, here's what I want you to do. Take your fist, right, and put it in the north. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And then take the next fist and put it next to your first fist. Right? So this fist will be in the north. The next fist will be to the right of the first fist. And then you keep doing fist by fist and you move around. Starting from the north, you have to count how many fists you need to cover the whole room. Let me repeat. Find north, put your fist in the north, the next fist next to it on the right, and then the next fist, and then the next fist, and then the next fist. And then you keep going like this till you cover the whole room and you come back to the north. You may have to turn around. You may have to do this standing, right? Because you need to get an exact count.
$18.
18, okay. Very interesting.
13.
13, okay. The more accurate this is, the better for you. So there's a small hack for this. Instead of doing the whole room, you can do 1/4, right? And then multiply by 4. Right? You can just do from there till here, right? That much. 1 quadrant and then multiply by 4.
Yeah.
Did everyone get this? Does anyone need some help with this?
Yeah, could you please repeat that?
Yeah. So basically, you start with a fist in the north. Okay, like this. You put it in the north, and then you put your next fist to the right of it, and then the third next to it, and then you keep going like this, right? Till you cover a quadrant, right? 90 degrees. And you count how many fists you need to cover 90 degrees. Exactly, 1 quadrant, 6 to 7 fists. Right. So now we divide, right? If you've done a full circle, divide 360 by the number of fists. If you've done a quadrant, divide 90 by the number of fists. So for instance, Pramod mentioned for 1 quadrant, he has taken 7 fists. So 90 divided by 7 will give me 12, 13 degrees per fist. If you've done 18 fists, right, for a full circle, then divide 360 by 18 and you'll get 20 degrees for 1 fist. Do you understand what we are doing here?
Okay, fine. Yes.
Now, what you can do is, starting from the north, see how many fists are needed to your object. You have to move only horizontally. Your fist has to move only horizontally. It cannot move up and down. So that means if that is the north for me and my object is up there in the ceiling, I can only go till here, right? I need 5 fists to come here from the north.
So means 14.
14 fists.
Degree.
Right, right. Now this is called azimuth. Right? Azimuth, right? Azimuth. How many fists I need? How many degrees is it? Is that object from the north?
140 degrees.
140 degrees. Very good. Yeah. To your object. Right. So this is what we are doing. Generally speaking, a fist is 10 degrees. Depends on the size of the fist. Right? Then what you would do is you would take the same fist on top to your object. Right? You can do even this, like this, right? Because this fist is say 15 degrees or 12 degrees. So from the bottom, from the floor, you keep doing this till you reach your object and you will get altitude.
Vikram,
Yeah.
did you say from the floor?
From your eye level, from wherever you are, from eye level, right? And you take it up like that and you will get altitude. Yeah.
But I am sitting in a chair.
Yeah, it's a good point. So when we go out stargazing, you'll have to take it from the horizon, right? It's not from eye level, not from the ground, but from the horizon. So basically, this is a coordinate system, right, to help you find an object in the sky. Azimuth and altitude. Basically, the software is going to tell you the azimuth and altitude of an object, of a planet. What is azimuth? Counting from the north, how many degrees should you go? That is azimuth. Altitude is looking from the horizon, how much should you go up? Any questions before we look at the software?
Can you describe once this?
Yeah. So if you have an object, say the fan, if you identified the fan as an object.
No, actually, I'm sitting in front of my refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am counting this from my table level.
Yes, yes. If you've understood the concept, it's okay.
Yeah, I can.
Let's look at the sky. Inside the room is only an exercise to help you get started, but this will really work in the sky, right? So let me focus above from room flooring. Exactly. Yeah, perfect, Pramod. So any questions before I shift and show you the software? And we do some stargazing. We plan for the stargazing night. Any questions?
Till that I am thinking that brightest. Till that I am thinking the brightest star is Jupiter, but now you are saying that it is Venus. Is it true?
Yeah. So firstly, Jupiter is not a star. It's a planet.
Okay. No, Graha.
Graha.
Yeah, planet.
Yeah. Venus is much more brighter than Jupiter.
Okay, because it is closer to Earth.
Yeah, it is closer to Earth. Yeah. Yeah. So you can differentiate between Venus and Jupiter by the color.
Okay.
Jupiter will be a little yellow.
Oh.
Venus will be a little white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me open my software, and this software is called Stellarium. Yeah. You should be able to see my screen. You should be able to see Stellarium. Right? Now, this is a software that I recommend. It is free. You can download it on your phone, on your iPad, and it's very good, right? So you should be seeing the night sky. Yeah. Now, let me just quickly take you through this. At the bottom over here, you will see the date, right? Where it says 24 February 25, 1950 at the bottom. So that is the present date and time. And at the left, you see Earth, comma, Puducherry, 11 meters. That means the location has been set to Pondicherry and 11 meters above sea level. Yeah. There are many software, there are many free apps. You can use any of them. But there are certain things you have to keep in mind when you use this. Generally, what people do is to open the software and step outside into the sky and look at different things in the sky using the app, using the software. It doesn't work that way. It's a hit and miss if you do that. If you don't really plan a little bit, it's a hit and miss whether you can find something in the sky or not, right? So let's see how to plan. Now, what you see over here where it says S means it's the south, SE means southeast, and then I turn it and I find E over here, which means east. Yeah, these are the directions. Now, in the east, I see over here, it says moon. Yeah, so the moon is currently over there. Now, in this software, if I take my mouse to the left, I get a few options where it says location, date and time, and all the system options, right? We don't need all that for now. What we need is location and date and time. Now, here are my tips, right, to help you plan for your stargazing night. First, actually, the way I do this is a reverse approach. Rather than stepping out and looking at the sky, I want to do reverse. I want to first identify what I want to see in the sky before I go out. Yeah. Once I say I want to see this object, say Mars or Jupiter, using the software, I want to find the optimum time for me to see that object before I go out. How do we do this? Let's say we want to see Jupiter. Okay, we've decided we want to see Jupiter. Now I have to find the date and time when I can see Jupiter. Yeah, that is where the software will help us. How do we do that? First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control F and search for Jupiter, right? So over here, I will type in Jupiter and it suddenly takes it to Jupiter, right? And you'll see that there are 4 red arrows, 4 red lines, and it's telling me this is where Jupiter is. Now, to see Jupiter, if you look at the top left, you'll see all kinds of numbers over there, right? These are all astronomical details for Jupiter. What I need to search for is AZ/ALT, which is azimuth and altitude. Yeah. Over here it says azimuth is 278. That means starting from the north, I can now count how many fists to go in order to find 278. Right? So if one fist is say 15 degrees and I need to get 278, I basically have to do 18 fist, 18 times, and then I get where exactly I need to look for Jupiter. That is azimuth. And then the next one here, it says 39. That means that's the altitude. So 39 is basically 2.5 fist, right? Approximately, I get the section in the sky where Jupiter will be. on that time in that location. If the location changes, the time changes, the position of Jupiter will be different. Yeah. Now, over here, if I zoom out, I see that the horizon is below and Jupiter is above. Jupiter is above the horizon, so I will be able to see. Also, it is night time. Jupiter can be above the horizon during the day, but I won't be able to see because the sun is too bright. Yeah. So all the conditions are being satisfied now. It's night time. Jupiter is above the horizon. Yeah, two conditions. Actually, I would say there's one more condition. Of course, assuming there's no light pollution, there's no clouds in your location, right? And this becomes very important if you want to see something like Jupiter. You can't be in a city with a lot of lights. You'll have to step out, you'll have to move outside, right? Now, there is one more thing that is important over here, which is, especially when we live in cities, it's the altitude of the planet. Many times you have buildings and trees, so even if Jupiter is above, the tree may be obstructing it. So the way to plan for a stargazing night is you step outside on your terrace, on your balcony, and you see the east-west axis and you check if there are any obstructions. Is there another building there? If there is a building, what should the altitude be for you to be able to see the object in the sky? Maybe 20 degrees you won't be able to see because there's a light pole or there's a tree or there's another house in front. And using your fist, you can check how many fists should you go up in order to find the sky. So this altitude over here that you see, 39 degrees, Jupiter 39 degrees, so it's basically 2.5 fists, right? I have found in my location, it needs to be above 25 degrees for me to be able to see this object, right? The first 25 degrees in the horizon, there are too many trees over here. I won't be able to see anything, right? And again, this is in the east-west axis, not in the north-south axis. So for instance, over here, you see Jupiter is in the west, right? All the planets will be on the east-west axis. That becomes the most important axis to find the planets. Any questions here before I show you a few more things? Do you all understand how to do this? Do you understand how to find altitude and azimuth? That is the most important. You know, search for any software you use, it will give you azimuth and altitude, right?
Which software can you name?
Yeah, let me put it in the chat window. I highly recommend this. It's a free software.
Okay.
1 minute. Yeah. Now we'll make it a little more complicated now, right? So you need to understand this, and then I'll show you. We'll take this to the next step.
Chat.
Stellarium, okay? In the chat window, I have put it. It's called Stellarium. Okay. Now, let us say we want to see Saturn. It's possible to see Saturn with the naked eye. The challenge is, I want to know when I'll be able to see Saturn in my location. Okay, I want to plan how to see Saturn. Yeah. Just follow me along and then I'll show a slide with you where I will list down the steps. Okay. First, what I do is I set the location. Okay, I live in Pondicherry, so I'm setting it to Pondicherry. If you live in Delhi, you can go to the settings over here, location window, and I can choose, say, Delhi over here. First step, set the location. Okay, now I have set it to Delhi. Okay, Delhi is 227 meters above sea level. Okay, fine, done. Second step, I want to choose the time when I want to see Saturn, not the date. Okay, let us say I want to see Saturn at 10 o'clock in the night because I come back from work, I have my dinner. 10 o'clock, I want to go and look for Saturn. Yeah. So I come to the time window and I set it to 10 o'clock. So that's the location window. Now I come to the date time. Keep the date aside. Over here, I increase it to 10 o'clock. Okay, so I've set it to 10 o'clock, right? This is how the sky is going to look. That's the second step. Third step, I do a Control F or an Alt F and type in Saturn. I'm basically searching for Saturn in the software. Saturn at the moment, today, is below the horizon. How do I know? Because what I'm seeing here is basically green in color. That's the ground, right? It's below the ground, right? In order to see Saturn, it needs to be above the ground. And it needs to be nighttime. Nighttime I have already set. I have set 10 o'clock, right? Now what I do, I go to the date time window and I start playing with the month. I just keep increasing it. Now I'm in June 25th. I've not changed the time. And what the software is doing is it's tracking Saturn for different dates. Now look what's happened. It's above the horizon. Right? You see those, you see these lines and it's saying Saturn. This is the horizon over here, the black over here. Saturn has come above the horizon in July 25th. That means end of July, if I look at the east, I will be able to find Saturn with the naked eye. But at what altitude? Now I come up here to the top left and I look at azimuth and altitude. Azimuth, it's okay. You know, I can rotate from the north. It doesn't matter. Altitude is 4 degrees. 4 degrees is too close to the horizon. There will be many obstructions. Even a plant or a bush or a tree is going to obstruct your view of Saturn. I need it at least at 30 degrees. So I continue playing with the month. I go one more month ahead. Now look, in 1 month Saturn has come up over there. What's the altitude? It's 30 degrees. Perfect. Perfect. When? August 28th. 25th. August 25th at 10 o'clock. If I look between the east and the southeast, a little above, 2 fist, right? I'll find Saturn. If I step outside today, I will not find Saturn at 10 o'clock. Yeah. So this is what I call as reverse search. First, I set the time I want to go stargazing. I set the location where I'm going to do stargazing. I search for the planet, and then I play with the date. And no point in going back in the date because those days have passed. I can only go forward, right? So from February, I tried March, April, May, June, July, August, end of August is optimum for seeing Saturn. I want to pause here. I want to see if there are any doubts, any questions using this method. Were everyone able to follow this?
Oh, I didn't have a compass with my cell phone, so I couldn't follow. Sorry. I will. You're going to the video will be available later.
Yes. Video will be available on YouTube, and you can try this again, right? Basically, you need to know which is the north. Without that, it's yeah. And any smartphone, you'll have a compass, right? And then you can use the coordinates that the software gives, right? But you don't even need that maybe, right? Because what we did just now was to help us plan to see Saturn, right? Now we know that on the 25th of August, end of August, at 10 o'clock, you will find Saturn. Now you can go with the app and point it and it will tell you, look, Saturn is there. But this is more about a more organized way to do stargazing rather than just blindly stepping out, because it's a hit and miss. You will not find what you're looking for, Yeah.
No, so the exercise you proposed, the exercise was here for us to find the location of objects here in the room. It's to help us to use the software,
Correct.
right? When you are outside.
If you want to, correct. You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are going to count like with the fists.
Yeah.
To find
See,
the,
see, the fist exercise is to give you a body experience for altitude and azimuth.
Okay.
A sensorial, a somatic experience, right, for altitude and azimuth. If you look at the compass, it already gives the degrees. You don't need a fist, right? Because I can look at what is 228. By rotating this, I can get 228. What is the azimuth here is 118. So I just rotate this to 118. You don't need a fist, right? It's just to help you feel it in the body. What is altitude and azimuth, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Let's look at this in a slide. Let's just put this in a slide. Let me. Okay, I'm going to share this. Okay, so what did we do, right? I'm calling this as the reverse search, right? So you use this method if you're in the same location for an extended duration. So I live in Pondicherry, I'm here for many days. Then I use this method. I can't use this method if I'm going on a holiday, right? Where I'm there only for a few days. There's a different method for that. We won't get into it, but this is for your hometown. Think of it as for your hometown. First, you check your landscape and you find the optimum altitude. Is there a building in front of you? Is there a light pole? Find the optimum altitude in the east-west axis, not the north-south. Yeah. Second, decide what object you want to see. Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, right? Then in the software, you set the place and your desired viewing time. Set the place, is it Pondicherry, is it Chennai, is it New York? Set the place and what is the optimum time for you? Are you okay in going outside at midnight? No? Or do you want it only at 8 o'clock in the evening, right? It has to be after sunset. So set your desired viewing time. Then you find the object using Control F, search for the object, and then you keep adjusting the date, right? Such that the object is at your desired altitude. That's it, right? It's a different way to try to find an object in the sky. Any questions? Did this give you some tips to help you find something in the sky? Monica, you're on mute.
Now here in Rio de Janeiro is morning, so almost midday. So I have to do it.
Yes, you'll have to try it at night. That's true. But you can use the software even during the day and help you plan the stargazing night.
Ah, for sure.
Right?
Okay.
So, see, if this is something that interests you, then I would highly recommend joining my next one-year program where we are going to go into the details of astronomy, right? What I shared today was just the basics of azimuth and altitude, but there is so much more that you can learn if topics like this interest you, right? There's right ascension and declination. There are different constellations. There's something called the precession of the equinoxes. All astronomy that eventually helps us to understand a birth chart, understand astrology, right? And astronomy is only one pillar for me on which I go through astrology, right? The second pillar is mythology. I've already done a webinar on Indian mythology. It's on YouTube. I'll post the link in the description. You can check out my webinar on mythology. How knowing the stories of the Vedas and the Puranas helps me understand the birth chart. Right? The other pillar for me is Indian philosophy, right? Knowing more about Indian philosophy helps me understand the birth chart. These are all building blocks for me to help me understand astrology. So in the one-year program, we're going to cover all of these, right? We do Patanjali's Yoga Sutras quite a bit. We go into Sankhya philosophy quite a bit. We do the Bhagavad Gita a little bit, right? Understanding philosophy, Indian philosophy, helps me understand the birth chart, right? And all of this, the one-year program is going to be full of fun activities for you to learn astrology. It's not about reading books and watching YouTube videos. That's not my style, right? It's more about journaling and painting and playing games, and how can we understand what the planets mean, what the stars mean, through fun interactive exercises online, right? We also meet 5 times for retreats where we visit the temples connected to the elements and meet others in the group and engage with each other. Otherwise, it's all online once a week, 2 hours for 1 year, right? I'm asking for a 1-year commitment. There'll be 5 retreats in person. And yeah, that is what we'll be covering: astrology, astronomy, Indian philosophy, and Vedic mythology. And the best part about all this is I don't have a fixed fee for the program. It's a sliding scale. You can contribute based on your capacity. There are certain limits, but it's really based on what you can afford, how much you value this program. Right? So we start in April. That is the website for this, allthingsvedic.in/astrology101. All the details are there. So please sign up. I'll be offering one more webinar in 2 weeks on helping you plan for a day, right? So what this webinar, next webinar, what that will be about is how can I know a little ahead of time whether how my day is going to go. You know, some days are so good, some days are so bad. What if I could know a little ahead of time how my day is going to go? Will that help me plan for the day in a much nicer way? Right? So I will show you how you can do that without knowing astrology. How can you know how your day is going to go? So that webinar will be in 2 weeks from now, same time, Sunday, 7 p.m. India time. I'll remake the registration page and you can sign up for that webinar. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Even if you don't want to join the one-year program or the other webinars, just a few tips on astronomy and it will make your next stargazing night so much nicer. Yeah. That's it from my side. Any questions, any thoughts? I'll be happy to share.
Can I when you to join the group, I mean the 1-year program,
Yeah.
we have to pay the fee, and the fee is you pay in every month. How do you pay that?
Yeah, so I would really prefer it if it's not monthly. Maybe it's like 2 or 3 installments. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Every payment, I need to make an invoice and pay tax to the government, right? And I don't have anyone helping me with this, so I have to do it myself. So now if I have, say, 30 students and each of them paying, you know, a different day of the month, so I need to do a lot of accounts, follow up with the students, get the payment, check what they have paid, see if that has come into the bank account, make the invoice, pay tax to the government. I have to do that 30 times every month. So I don't want to do that. I just want to do astrology. So the fewer,
no, it's okay.
yeah,
no, it's,
yeah. So the fewer the
I just
installments,
asked because
yes.
it's.
Yeah.
I just asked because I thought it was a kind of tuition. That's why.
Sure.
You know, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much is the fee? You don't have it flexible.
No, I don't have. I don't have a fee. So students have contributed between 50,000 to 150,000 rupees, Indian rupees. It really depends on your capacity.
You have to make the conversion.
You can do the conversion.
How much?
Between 50,000 rupees to 150,000 rupees. That's the range in which my students have contributed. It's only a suggestion, right? You can see. Now I don't have another job. This is what I do. So whatever you contribute, it all goes towards all these webinars and these programs. It also helps other students who may not be able to afford. So I leave it to you.
No, we have to. It's have to contribute for sure.
Thank you.
No doubt about it.
Yes.
Okay. I like it very much. Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, your batch is cyclic, sir. Every 1 year it is conducted, sir.
Sorry, Archit, can you repeat?
Sir, your batch is cyclic every 1 year, sir. After every 1 year, your batch is conducted, sir.
Yearly one. So initially I used to offer short workshops, 2-month workshops, but it doesn't work for me.
Sir, due to some family commitments, I am unable to join this time. That's why I was asking.
Okay. Yeah, the following year I may not offer the first year program, but the year after. So the next first year program will be in 2 years.
Okay, okay.
Yes, Maria.
Vikram, I'm sorry. Just a question. This the answer is probably no, but are we working on parts also, or are we doing? Is this basic course for learning again everything else, and then starting with actual birth charts and reading
No,
those?
you will start working with your birth chart within the first month, right? Now, it's actually a good question, Maria. So there are two conditions, right? If you want to learn with me, yeah. First condition, you cannot read the charts of other people. Yeah. So family members, friends, anyone you know, you cannot read their birth charts till the second year, right? In the second year, I will give you my birth details and we will experiment you reading my birth chart first. And then you can read other people's birth charts. So that's the first condition. So in the first year, we will start working with your own birth chart almost immediately, right? I will show you how to make your birth chart using software, and I will, yeah, all the activities will be based on your birth chart. That's the first condition. Second condition, no predictions. We are not going to be predicting the future, right? If you want to learn astrology to predict the future, then I'm not the right person. So there are others who do that. I want to stay away from that, right? So I use astrology more to empower you, to help you find your way, your direction, right? And because we are working with your birth chart, you will, you will start using it to make decisions, right? Almost immediately, yeah.
So basically, we're learning all of these other things like myths and understanding astronomy, obviously a little bit astrology.
Absolutely.
To basically decipher what.
To decipher your birth chart, right? I'll give you an example. When you were born, was the moon waxing or waning? Right? A very important point when you want to interpret the birth chart. But to do that, you need to understand the astronomy. What does a waxing moon mean? What does a waning moon mean? How do I see that in the birth chart? So we are going to bring together astronomy and astrology, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we can call it a night.
I just wanted to say this was very interesting. I want to go and practice now.
Excellent. Mission accomplished then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already downloaded the app, so.
Super, super. Okay. Then I will let you all go. Yeah. Thank you for joining me today. And I wish you a good weekend and hope to see you in the next webinar.
Next.
In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. Bye-bye. Bye.
After 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
After 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Means Sunday, any Sunday in March.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.